Hey, I think we're here. All right. All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pagan Perspective. This is Megan, aka Severity. Today is Friday, and yeah, we're doing a live. We're talking about pagan holidays today. So people might show up, but I know this gets watched in the replay. It's easier for me to get a video up this way. So I figured I would start right in. I think we got some people watching now. All right. So how is everyone doing today? It's an interesting day for sure. It's very hot and muggy here in Maui. So it's very hot, very warm. It's only about 3:20 here. So, but we're talking about pagan holidays today. So I'm kind of excited about it. I do like this topic. In particular, what we're talking about is, are there any holidays that we don't connect with? So that sort of wheel of the year, is there anything that we don't really feel a particular alignment with, and why, and what do we do instead, and is it a problem, all that kind of stuff. So, but I want to say hi to everybody. We got some people on. So if you're on, let me know. Put in the comments where you're from. Oh, Kimberly says, doing well, cooler and rainy here. Well, where are you from, Kimberly? Hi, Caleb. Awesome. Yeah, so definitely let me know where you're from, where you're viewing from. We are hot and muggy in the high 80s today in Maui. Ooh, Ohio. Oh, cool. You guys are getting close to snow, I'm sure, probably in Ohio. Well, I guess maybe northern Ohio, but Kimberly, state of Washington. Okay. All right. I mean, sorry, Virginia, not Washington, Virginia. The V looked like a W. Sorry. Somebody else. Okay, yeah, we will definitely talk about Samhain. Yes, we're definitely going to talk about Samhain. So Indiana, Plainfield, nice. Very cool. All right. So, well, let's get into it. So, if you're putting stuff, Costa Rica, nice. That's awesome. Another island like me. Cool. All right. So, let's see. Let's go into it. So I think I'm going to start with what holidays I feel most connected to, and then sort of talk about the ones that I'm least connected to. If you have seen me on this channel at all, you know that my favorite holiday. Hold on one second. I have someone at the door. Bad timing. I'm in a live. Hopefully it's not my door they're knocking on. I'm hoping it's a different door. that would be a weird timing, wouldn't it? Hey, it's okay. My dog doesn't like it when somebody's knocking. So, yeah. So, but we got this. So, it's okay. So my favorite holiday would have to be Samhain. By far, favorite holiday. It is the one that I love the most. It is the one that I put the most effort into. I celebrate. I have so many traditions that I share with friends and family, and friends outside of my faith. So Samhain would definitely be the one that I'm closest to, right? So for me, Samhain is an incredibly important time of the year. So it is New Year for us. I know not everybody celebrates it that way, but for me, it is the New Year. And it's something that is very close to my heart, because much of my path, if you've watched me on this channel, you'll kind of know that I follow a different tradition. I follow a hereditary tradition that isn't something that you can just pick up or read in a book, because it's specific to my family. And so one of the things that's really important in my tradition is ancestor veneration. So ancestors are kind of a key element in my path. And Samhain is all about ancestors. It's all about the beloved dead. It's all about those that have passed on and honoring them and feeling the connection with them, right? So Samhain has always played a very integral part, an important part in my path for that reason. So Samhain would definitely be my favorite. There are many holidays, well, maybe not many, maybe that's the wrong word. There are holidays within the Wiccan Wheel of the Year, or I guess typical, like if you were to look up Pagan Holidays, the Wheel of the Year, there are a few holidays that I don't celebrate. They're not part of my path. So a couple of them would definitely be, like for one would be Litha. I do not celebrate Litha. I don't have a connection with Litha. I don't, I never have. So it's just not something that I really celebrate at all. And also on that, I don't celebrate Lunasa or Mabon. So those are three that I don't celebrate. I celebrate different things in place of those that happen a little bit similarly timed, but not quite. For me, I don't have, you have kind of Litha and Lunasa. Hold on one second. Sorry, hold on, wait a minute. Hey, I'm in the middle of a live video right now. Do you need to shut something off?
I'm not going to shut it off, but I'm just going to leave the cover.
Okay. All right. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. I am so sorry. That was awful. Someone just showed up at my door. Has that ever happened to you? Where somebody out of the blue, you have no idea that they're coming. They're just going to knock on your door. Like, I'm so confused. I'm so sorry. Of course, right when you start a live video, it's not like you can pause these things. So where was I? I'm sorry. I got so frazzled there for a second. I'm going to ground for a second. I need to ground. Take a moment. Okay. Where were we? Let's get back to this, shall we? Oh, the excitement on the Pagan Perspective. This is what happens when you do live. Things get real when you go live. It's just the way it is. So, and you'll probably hear my dog barking because she hears somebody outside too. Oh my goodness. All right. So now I was saying about Litha and Lunasa. So you have, thank you. So my wife is on and she just told me I'm doing great. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Somebody's knocking at the door, letting me know that the power might go out. So we might lose this. If we do, well, I'll come back. Guess that's it. Oh my gosh. All right. So I celebrate Midsummer. So that falls in between Litha and Lunasa. So Midsummer for me is my focus. So that has always been where my path goes. So I'd be interested to know how many of you do some of you celebrate Midsummer at the same time that you celebrate Litha and Lunasa? Or do you only celebrate Litha and Lunasa? Or do you only celebrate Midsummer? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, kind of where you are and what you celebrate, or what you maybe feel connected to. I also don't celebrate Mabon. It's just never been, I celebrate it if I'm in public ritual. So I think that's one big delineation we have to make across this whole thing is I have been very involved on the East Coast when I lived there in public ritual, public faith. So all of the different pagan communities, it's just such a wide variety of different activities and events and rituals and festivals and all sorts of things that you can find on the East Coast. There's just a huge, the East Coast of the United States, that is, huge, thriving pagan community. And out here in Maui, not so much, not at all, really. So when I was on the East Coast, I was highly involved in all of these festivals and fairs and public rituals. And I lived, in Salem, Massachusetts, for many years. I got my undergraduate degree from Salem State. So for me, being part of that community, I celebrated a lot publicly. Right? That wasn't something that was part of my hereditary path that I celebrated at home, if that makes sense. Some people wrote, let's see, somebody, love Mabon. It's my favorite holiday. Never felt connected to Lunasa, but I've tried so hard to be. Going up there, see if we can get a room the next meeting. Okay. Not sure what one of the comments is, but one about that. Yeah, Mabon is definitely something that a lot of people feel connected to. And I love public Mabon rituals. I love them. They're wonderful. It's just never something I had growing up. Very different, super different holidays. So that's just something that I do kind of the public face, because I have sort of the pagan public face, and then I have my path at home, if that makes sense. Let's see, Caleb, in bulk, that you don't celebrate, even though the idea of strengthening sun really resonates with me. Yes, in bulk for me is something that publicly I celebrate, and privately I celebrate what in bulk is, but I have a different name for it. So it's funny sometimes when I'm talking about the Wheel of the Year, because I don't celebrate the Wheel of the Year, the Wiccan, or I guess kind of typical now neo-pagan Wheel of the Year. I don't celebrate that. And so sometimes I might forget where one falls, on the lineup, just because I don't celebrate it, or I have different names for that time of year, and what's being celebrated at that time is the same. So for me, in bulk is one of those where I'm celebrating something that's the same as what in bulk is. I just have a different name for it. And so that's just, it's really just a difference in terminology. The essential core of the holiday is the same. But I find that one of my problems is I celebrate a lot of things in between sort of solstice, Yule, and then in January, I have some things that I celebrate as well. And I actually also celebrate, just because I love the concept of it. It's something I incorporated as an adult, Bafana's Day. I love celebrating Bafana's Day. And so that's something to me that I want to pass on, to our kids, that we're able to celebrate that, because I think it's a wonderful tradition. It wasn't something I grew up with, but it's definitely a great tradition. So, and there's so many things. So in bulk kind of sneaks up on you, I feel like, as soon as you're done basically putting everything away, boom, there you go. In bulk is there. So, so that time of year, I have something that I celebrate, but it usually happens a little later in February. Let's see. Somebody else says, Mabon doesn't feel significant to them because the seasons are mild. Yes, it feels like summer. Yeah. Southern California, totally. I completely know what you mean. Being out here in Maui, literally it's the same weather all year round. And so there is no season change. And especially coming from the East Coast of the United States, where there's such a dramatic season change, it's been a real shift for me living here, because I just feel like it's endless summer. It doesn't feel like there's a natural shift. And so what my wife and I have done is we've purposely done things in the home to make us feel more in tune with the season that it is. So one of the things being scents. We're really particular about making sure that we have seasonal scents, whether that's candles or even a plug-in. We make sure that we have smells, essential oils, all of that around us that exemplify what that season is about, right? So we just sort of finished off our apple candles and things like that. And we've been moving into our pumpkin stuff, and and then we'll kind of move into our seasonal favorites. We we do a little bit of a guilty pleasure, but we absolutely love the candle. I think it's Bath and Body Works. I know. Not exactly the most natural thing in the world, but we love it. It's Marshmallow Fireside. Any of you smelled this? Oh my gosh. For December, it is our favorite candle to burn. It smells so good. And it just makes you feel like you want to cuddle up, with a cup of hot cocoa or something. And it feels like December to us. And that's really important. So we decorate for each season as well, because the more that we can bring in those seasonal changes, the more we'll feel them, even though the weather outside, like today, it's in the high 80s. It's like muggy and hot. So I hear you. Let's see. Somebody said, "Oh, blessed be, Greg. Blessed be." Let's see. I'm just trying to see if I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Okay. So for me, I think that, when I'm looking at the entire wheel, what I've always sort of taken as my mantra with it all is what resonates with you. What are the holidays you get excited about? Because if you're not getting excited about it, it's going to feel like a chore, right? Has anybody ever felt like that? Like, oh man, I have to do this now, right? So I used to kind of did a whole little thing where I was really trying to do full moon rituals every single month. Every single month. I didn't have enough time. I just didn't have enough time. I did it for a while because I really wanted to just be on it, you know, and that's the way you're supposed to do it and all of that, and trying to do rituals all the time. And, you know, it's funny. There'd be months where I just miss, and there was nothing I could do about it. I was busy. Life gets crazy. It's really, really tough. And so be kind to yourself. Be kind. We can't always be perfect. We can't always, you know, be the one with the best decorations and having these perfect rituals all the time for everything, every single Sabbath, Nesbit, and full moon. Like, we just can't do that all the time. What we can do, though, is we can pick the holidays that we feel most connected to, and we can put a lot of effort and a lot of energy into those holidays. So for me, Beltane is a huge one. Samhain is a huge one. Yule is a huge one. All these midsummer is a huge one, super, super important. So for me, those are sort of my go-tos. Now, if you think about it, I'm sort of looking at the four poles, right? You know, I mean, I'm having winter solstice, Yule, right? Midsummer, and then Samhain and Beltane. You know, I'm really looking at my whole four corners there. And that really rounds out my year. And I find when I'm super busy, those are the ones that I get excited about. Those are the ones that make me really happy. And I have traditions and things that I want to do and share with friends and family and all of that, and extended family, I should say. And, you know, those are the ones that I put my energy and effort in, because smaller ones for me, I just end up feeling guilty because that I didn't do something, or, you know, that I didn't do enough. And part of the process needs to be kind of letting go of that guilt a little bit, because, you know, you're doing the best you can. Everyone is just doing the best they can at any given point. You know, some days the best you can is going to be way up here, and other days the best you can might be here. It's still the best you can, though. You're still doing everything you can in that moment, and it's okay. It is okay to do the best you can and to relax on the expectations that you should be way up here. Right? When you're giving 120% here, you know, some days are just like that. It's just the way it is. Oh, let me get to some comments here. Let's see. Beltane is Caleb's favorite. Excellent. Something nice. Someone's trying to get back into their ritual, and I love fire festivals most. I know fire festivals are so wonderful. So on the East Coast, there's this amazing shop in Marlborough, New Hampshire, and I just absolutely love it. So one of the things that you can get there, Lillian Aptower makes them, and they're these fabulous mullein sticks. So mullein is this large herb, typically used for things with the ear. If you have ear problems, you can make an ear oil out of it. But mullein has these like bulbs at the top of it and grow on these long stalks. It's really, really hardy plant. And what she does is she dips them in this type of wax, right? This sort of, I think it's like caruba or something like that. It's like a plant-based wax. She dips it in that, and then it adds these sparklers. So I'm not quite sure what the sparklers are, where she gets them, but they have like glitter in them, but then they are ignitable. And she coats the whole top of it. And so for Samhain, what in the East Coast we used to love to do is get a bunch of these, and we would line a kind of an aisle, a row, with on either side with these sparklers, and then you light them and they glow and they sparkle like a 4th of July sparkler, but it's herbal, right? And they have all these beautiful blues and purples and everything, and they sparkle, and that's our bonfires. And for Samhain, all my friends that I would invite over, I had big gatherings for Samhain at my house, and at Lisa and I's house, and we would walk. Everybody would walk through the bonfires. It's tradition. So it was really, really lovely and really, really beautiful. So I have lots of my family there, and friends and cousins, and sort of. I remember Kellyanna was there, and she really loved the mullein sparklers. So if you just, you know, it's those little traditions. It's those little things that as you're bringing up the next generation or you're remembering in your past, like those are the things that stand out. Those are the things that stick with you in your memory and make something special and make something sentimental and of value and important. That's what a holiday is about. That's what tradition is about. And if you don't feel connected to that holiday, you're not going to create that tradition. And I just say, why force it? Find the ones that you really connect with and make those special. Make those be the ones that you have memories about. 'Cause I just think it can be beautiful. I just want to get to let's see. Somebody was saying about throwing Christians under the bus and not demonizing them. Cool. Yep. And Caleb says, yeah, most of your extended family is Christian. So for Yule, you just celebrate Christmas with them. Yeah. So my parents are divorced. So one half has sort of a very, I wouldn't say Christian. I would say a very kind of agnostic American secularism, probably pronouncing that wrong. Basically just celebrating the typical, what they call typical American holidays, which really we know are Christians, the mainstream religion. But, he doesn't go to, my dad doesn't go to church or anything like that. But, so when they'll just say Christmas, right? And so I just say Yule. And that's sort of the way that to me, that's it. Now I'm lucky in that nothing about my family or growing up ever involved church on either side. My parents divorced when I was really young. And so, being raised pagan on my mother's side, but having my dad's side, kind of having this secular, I understood the secular holidays. It was at school, it was everywhere. However, we never went to church and we didn't talk about Jesus or anything like that. So I didn't ever have that connection with the holiday. So to me, the holiday was purely pagan. I mean, we're talking about a tree and presents and Santa and things like that, all very pagan kind of elements, right? Without any drama around that. No one had to say, well, this is that or that is that. To me, it doesn't matter if a Christian uses a tree. It's a tree. It's been around long enough. I figure my view is, how songs, if they've been around long enough, they're considered fair use, right? Well, I feel like the tree and presents and Santa, they've been around long enough now. They're fair use. Here you go. Everybody have them. They're fine. Like we can argue all we want, about where they came from. And I think it's pretty well known where everything comes from. To me, though, it's more about how you treat people, and especially that time of year. It's all just about being kind, and understanding that everybody has a path they need to take. Now, that doesn't mean that if somebody's coming at me and telling me I'm going to burn in hell, I'm not going to have a few words to say. I probably will. If you've seen me on this channel, I'm not soft-spoken. But at the same time, if it's, family members or extended family. So my wife's family, so they're Catholic. And, but they have fully accepted, they came to Samhain, they walked through the sparklers. They will celebrate Yule, no problem. For them, it's sort of like, do we get a tree? We're like, absolutely, you get a tree and a stocking. And they're excited about it. And that's awesome. So I think that part of it is being flexible and being adaptive and understanding that, what the whole season, the holiday season, right? Anytime we have these holidays, it's about love, right? It's supposed to be about connection. It's supposed to be about that connection we have with those that we love. And if we kind of keep it to that root and keep it focused around that, then some of the other stuff can kind of fall away, if that makes sense. I'll read the comments, but very cool. Festivities. Yeah, Caleb says, yeah, that's how it is for me. Yeah, totally. So festivities, well, here in Maui, there really isn't nearly as much for festivities. We did go to a full moon sound ritual that was really, really beautiful. But that was about it for public ritual. There really isn't much. It's much more kind of new age eclectic versus straight pagan, if that makes sense. There really isn't a lot here. So on the East Coast, though, there are so many things. Celebrate Samhain just happened. I think this past weekend. Yes. Was it this past? Yeah, I think it was this past weekend. And oh my gosh, I just missed that so much. That festival was so near and dear to my heart. And also Beltane, just love celebrating it with, with friends and family. Just not something that, they really have here. So, kind of in the future, we'll see. And certainly, once we have a family, that's going to make things different, because then we'll have our family time. So that'll be really nice. And someone else, my father's pagan, following paganism for a while. Now it's great and just wonderful. I was Christian there for a while, went one belief system, then I found paganism. Yeah, you know what? A lot of people do that. A lot of people. So this commenter was talking about how they switched to paganism from Christianity, and that one of their parents was Christian or is Christian. That happens a lot. So I would probably say, even though the pagan children are growing, right, there was a huge movement toward paganism. Obviously there was the big movement in the 60s and 70s, right? But then there was another resurgence in the movement in the 90s. And then it has literally been growing. In fact, it is the fastest growing religion in the United States right now. We literally, pagans outnumber, Presbyterians now in the United States. Can you believe it? That actually outnumber. So I think that's pretty amazing. So it's a growing thing, and it's just going to exponentially get bigger and bigger. And I think it's because people are more able to find and seek out what their truth is. I think that there's political stuff, and we're going to keep that aside, right? However, just if we look at the zeitgeist, right, the culture right now of what's going on kind of in the world, not just the United States, but there's this movement, and this isn't everywhere. I can't make a blanket statement for the entire world. I can just say, in general, in most sort of industrialized first world countries, there's a movement toward finding your truth, right, and finding your bliss, right? Movement toward, that's sort of what makes me happy, right? What drives me? What are my motivations, right? And many other times in history, there has been this zeitgeist. It's just that nowadays, with the internet, right, with social media, we have so much information, limitless information at our fingertips. There's so much. We just did a video on the channel, all the hosts, we did it on kind of learning from a mentor, learning at a school, right, for paganism, versus just, can you get all that information online? And pretty much the consensus is all the information is pretty much online. It's just, depending on your learning style, is a school going to work better than doing it on your own, right? The information is there. There's so much information now that you can get, and so many different ways of getting that information, whether it be like this on YouTube, where you're listening to somebody and kind of interacting, or, reading a blog, or, looking at pictures. There's so many different ways to get that information now that never existed before in history. And so I think that is expanding paganism in a huge way, because people who would never necessarily be able to find information on it, who might be isolated, are now able to get that information. And it's clicking. It's going, oh my gosh, this makes sense to me. This feels right. This feels like what I want inside, So I think that that's really, really valuable. And oh goodness, oh my gosh, we've been on for like 28 minutes, guys. So I guess, just to kind of wrap it up a little bit here, if there is some questions, get in those last bit of questions. But and Caleb said, all the faith is still grounded in nature, makes it easier because it feels right. Absolutely. So many people are looking for that connection because we have become so wired, right? So kind of plugged in, that grounding ourselves in nature has almost been necessary, more so than ever before, needing to feel like we're connected to the world in which we live, right? Let's see, happy paganism growing, excited. A Norse temple is being built, or will be built in Iceland. Yes, I actually think it's already been built. But yeah, it's amazing. The growth of paganism is amazing. It's so exciting. And I really hope that more places get a more public community together, because what the East Coast has right now of the United States, that amount of community is so wonderful. The kids that I witness just running around and playing at these festivals and having friends. And, you know, there's even a group called Spiral Scouts. And it's basically like a Girl Scout or Boy Scouts, but it's for any gender. It doesn't matter. Non-binary, doesn't, not anything, right? There's no gender anything on it. It's just you're come in, you are a person, you can talk to us. All right, then let's bring you in, have fun. And it's wonderful. Spiral Scouts is really cool. Now I know that there are some, I don't know what they're called, pods or something like that. There are some that are kind of inactive at this point. So if you research and you find one in your area that is inactive, definitely like reach out and try and make it more active, because it's so wonderful. When they're active, they do so many amazing things for these kids. You know, they're growing up in a world where there's just these limitless possibilities. And it makes me so excited. It makes me so excited. We want to go back to a time when entire towns held festivals lasting days, like May Day festivals. Wouldn't that be wonderful? That would be awesome. It'd be so cool. It's pretty close to, there's a few things on the East Coast that are similar to that, actually. There's a lot of different multi-day festivals. There was this amazing Beltane festival that I went to, and it was a week long in Connecticut. It was fabulous. Z Budapest was there. I did a wonderful ritual with her. Susan Weed was there. If you're not familiar with her, she's a herbalist. She's wonderful. And it was a week-long festival. Reverend Kirkland, he's a good friend of mine. And so he was there. So just some wonderful, wonderful people. And we were there for a week, and we camped, and it was phenomenal. And it was just so much fun. It was so much fun. And, you know, we had amazing music and food and all sorts of stuff. So drum rituals and giant bonfires. We danced around. In fact, I think when I look up pictures online of it, you can see I'm in a couple of the Google searches dancing around the fire. So my big purple coat on at the time. But yeah, it's wonderful. I would love to have more of those festivals. So I'm not sure if that one is still doing the full week long or not. I know that the person who organized it had some health issues and stuff. So, you know, that's the other thing. If you want these festivals, these things can't happen unless we've got, you know, volunteers and people who are willing to give their time, because these things take a lot to run. They take so much, honestly, money and time to really put together. And so, you know, get your friends together, make it a goal, like start small, but, you know, make it happen. If it's something that you really, really want. That's why the big Samhain dinners that I would do for my friends, you know, I would have, you know, anywhere from 13 to 20 people come. And I was cooking for days and massive amounts of food and just, you know, it was a lot. And I always did a craft too. And we had a big fire and everything. And it was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. But you have to put that energy in, you have to put that effort in. And, you know, we can't always do that. We don't always have it. You know, we're working really, really hard, you know, maybe multiple jobs, and, you know, people are doing the best they can. So, you know, if you've got the energy, if you've got the time, make it happen. If you don't, that's okay. Like, no worries. You know, do what feels right to you. Because a celebration within your heart can be just as powerful as a big celebration with everybody else. So just a little bit. Count Pride as a pagan festival? Yes. Definitely count Pride as a pagan festival. I love it. We actually have, on the East Coast, there are pagan Pride days. There are actually pagan Pride all over the country. I know there's some in Ohio. There's a bunch of pagan Pride days. And it's sort of like a combo of LGBTQIA plus Pride as well as pagan Pride events. But Pride, yes. I mean, speaking as someone with a wife, I really, Pride is like a big festival, and the acceptance, just the welcoming there it's an energy like no other. It's builds you up so much. It's so wonderful. So it's definitely something I've missed since being on Maui, because there are no pride events on Maui, which is kind of crazy for such a liberal state, but it's because it's one of the smaller islands. I mean, it's technically the second largest, but it's more rural. It's not where the city is. So, but yeah, pride is wonderful. Amber said, how do you come out when your family's very Baptist? Ooh, Southern Baptist. Yeah, that can be hard. So I guess how Baptist, because there are levels of Baptist. There are, I guess, do you feel like your family would, if you were to talk about, say, a friend, right, who wanted to get into Wicca, would they just be like, oh, they're burning in hell, right? Or you need to save them immediately. Like, would they be like that? Or would they be like, well, I don't really know much about that. It's not in the Bible, but that's not for me to judge. That's for Jesus to judge, that sort of thing. Like, what kind are they? Because I feel like there's a lot more malleability, and you can work with a person who's more like, well, it's not my place to judge. The only thing I'm supposed to do is love everybody, right? So those are the Christians, no matter what, if they're Methodist, Baptist, Lutheran, whatever, the types of Christians and Catholics who are like, the only thing I'm supposed to do is love everybody, and live a good life. And I'll let the Christian God and Jesus sort of decide and judge. And that won't be me. Those are the ones that I feel like you can work with, right? That you can talk with, and they'll listen to you, and you can, make headway with them. Whereas is this an emergency? I can't come to the door. Wait, Bebe. Okay. Hi. Wait. So they're telling me something about the power going out. I'm not sure what's going on. I apologize. Bebe, stop. So you're saying, Amber, you saying they would disown people who call them out on their wrongs. For one, they judge a lot and believe they have said it's not right to believe in the sun and the moon. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Amber. I'm so sorry. All I can say is that, family doesn't have to be just blood family. Family is also chosen family. And, there are people out there who can love you just as much, if not more, and they can love you for who you are, and respect you for what you believe. So, so I would say, try and find your people, find your tribe, and find the people who love you for who you are. And, maybe it's something that maybe your blood family will come around to in time. It's a really hard one. So I think it's difficult for me because I was raised pagan. So I didn't ever have to come out. I was what I was, it's the faith I was raised in. And so I did have to come out as gay though. And that was really, really tough, and it was really, I would say it was much scarier in my head than it ended up being with my family. I told my mom, and she ran upstairs to her workshop and made me a rainbow bracelet. So, so I got lucky. I got just so very lucky. Not everybody is that lucky. And I know that. But that doesn't mean that I haven't received oppression for that. And I definitely have gotten a lot. I got bullied very, very hard in school. I'd be in locker rooms, and one time they locked the doors. I was the last one in there. They locked the doors and shut off all the lights on me, so I couldn't see anything because there's no windows. And then they just started screaming, "Fly, Megan, fly!" That's sort of, there's a lot of bullying, pushed downstairs, things like that in school. So my biggest thing is when they're the type of Christian that would elicit a hate response from them, make sure you're safe no matter what. I mean, that is why So many pagans were in the broom closet for so long. You know, they had to go underground. It was just the reality of things. I mean, we're talking about the Inquisition. We're talking about the burning times. We're talking about millions of people, you know, it's tortured and dead because, you know, people were persecuting them for their faith. You know, it's scary. And so all I can say is take care of yourself. If you don't feel safe, it's okay to have it in your heart and to not tell them. Like, that's okay. If you feel like you need to, absolutely. Like, it has to feel okay to you, right? And number one, I want you to be safe. So that would be my biggest advice. And find family, chosen family. Find people, you know, whether it's online or, you know, at school or somewhere that you can trust and maintain that connection with, and find that bond, you know, just that special bond, that familial bond, right? That doesn't have to be blood. So I think that would be, they know my husband's pagan, keep trying to change him, but they don't know I'm becoming Wiccan. Oh, good. Well, I hope that helped, Amber. So, and we're here. You can keep watching. I'm on, and I'm so glad you came and joined today. So I think that is about it. My goodness, we're 40 minutes in. I think it's time. I got to get going. And my battery is at 26%. So I think it's time that I get going. All right. But love and blessings to all of you. Next week, for those in the Northern Hemisphere, we have Samhain. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's going to be very small this year. I'm not doing anything big, but I'm making food. I always make food, make lots and lots of food. So, and if any of you don't know, so my tradition, my faith, one thing that is important because it's the new year, the more food that you have, bountiful food, right, on your table for Samhain, the more plentiful, right, your coming year will be, right? The more bountiful your coming year. And so I always try and have just massive amounts of food. It means we have lots of leftovers. But that's a tradition from my family. So if any of you want to use that or pass that on, the more bountiful your table, then the more bountiful your coming year will be. So a little bit from me to you. And yeah, well, Amber, I'm so glad you found it too. And Caleb, bye. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. As always, blessed be and aloha. See you next time.